Now, in addition to the news, I've been focused on three things this past weekend, one of them personal, two of major historic importance. First, the personal one. Yesterday was the 4th anniversary of the sudden death of my friend, Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez, MD. And as I mentioned here before and in print for 25 years, Dr. Nick Gonzalez was a brilliant physician, a serious researcher, and a trained immunologist. He was a Phi Beta Kappa from Brown University in his undergraduate years as an English major. And for a quarter century in private clinical practice in New York City with his colleague, Dr. Linda Isaacs, who I've interviewed twice on this program, Dr. Nick Gonzalez treated cancer patients with nutrition and detoxification therapies. No chemotherapy, no radiation, no surgery, just individualized nutrition and detoxification, using alternative therapies as primary and not complementary modalities. By the way, on the screen, if you're watching, is the cover of a new book that was just released yesterday on the 4th anniversary of Dr. Gonzalez's passing. This was prepared by his widow, Mary Beth Gonzalez, who has started the Nicholas Gonzalez Foundation, a 501c3 tax-exempt foundation which is dedicated to keeping his work and his legacy going. And the foreword for this new book is by Dr. Linda Isaacs, who I mentioned a moment ago. She was Dr. Gonzalez's clinical associate for 25 years. And Dr. Isaacs is in the process of relocating her practice from New York City to Austin, Texas, where she will soon hang out her shingle and clinical practice there. But this book, just to briefly cite it, contains 25 of Dr. Gonzalez's best cases as of 1993, when he had been in clinical practice for only about 5 or 6 years. And already he had accumulated a number of positive case histories of people with serious advanced cancer who he and Dr. Isaacs treated with their non-toxic nutritional and detoxification therapy. So he was invited to present these best cases to a panel of the National Cancer Institute in Washington, D.C. in the summer of 1993. And his widow, Mary Beth Gonzalez, with the assistance of Dr. Isaacs, unearthed these best case documents, the history, and published it in book form now. So it's actually an interesting historic document. And I was in D.C. that summer of 1993, 1 week before Dr. Gonzalez, also testifying before a committee of the United States government on alternative medicine. And I remember Dr. Gonzalez's excitement at that point the next week when he presented his best cases. And in fact, he was encouraged by the NCI panel to collect more cases and publish what's called a pilot study, which he and Dr. Isaacs did in 1999, 6 years later, in a peer-reviewed Medline indexed medical journal, preliminary findings pilot study, and that helped them gain a $1.4 million grant, which was given to a university in New York to conduct a study of the Gonzalez-Isaacs therapy. So this was a beginning point in 1993 of Dr. Gonzalez getting this unprecedented grant. And unfortunately, because of the politics of cancer, which I covered for 40 years, the study, the $1.4 million prospective clinical trial, in my opinion, was designed to fail, and it collapsed in the first decade of this century and was never completed. But there is some positive that came out of it. So 4 years ago yesterday, Dr. Nick Gonzalez died suddenly at age 67. And we lost not only a great doctor, but I lost my best male friend. And as I've noted here before, he was also a great expert in biblical scholarship. And according to his pastor, he was a living example of the example set by Jesus Christ. So I'm sad about that anniversary yesterday, and I've been thinking about Nicholas, his widow, Mary Beth, his clinical associate, Dr. Isaacs, a lot.